So it's time to start conducting. I hope you've been practicing your 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And today we're going to also use this hand a little bit. If you have a look at your score in bar 2, 4 and 6, we're going to cue the saxophones, just with that, like that. So the right hand's going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Or you can do it as a scoop, as an invitation, or just a point. 1, 2, 1, you, 1, 2, 1, you. You don't need to keep the other hand going with the beat if you don't want to. So, our preparatory beat, breathe in, you have the music going in your head. Do, 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 bump, do, 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 da, 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 ch, ch, ch. Okay. Breathe and 1, 2, 1, saxes. 1, 2, 1, saxes. 1, 2, 1, saxes. 1, 2, 1. Do, 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 ba-da. Did you notice in bar 8 I stopped? Because most people do. Alright, so boom. And I'd look to the clarinets and the alto saxes because they're going to start. So let me try that again for you. So, from the beginning, thinking about the music. Breathe and 1, 2, 1, you, 1, 2, 1, you, 1, 2, 1, then 1, 2, stop. Ba 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 dee dum, ba doo dee dum, ba dee dum dum, da bee dum, dee dum bum, drum 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 drum, dee da 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 do 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 do. And this gets us to bar 21. You can see now there's some more slurs. The melody has become legato. And so, rather than a bounce, we'd like it to be smoother. So 1, la dee da 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 da, smooth, smooth, smooth. Ya da 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 da. Ya da ni na 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 ni na, no na, no na. Do 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 do, and so it goes on. And now to answer some of your questions. From the front row, we have the question about the key signatures in the very first bar. And you can see that we have 4 different key signatures in 2 different clefs. So when we are playing in a bass clef, the B flat will be in a different line than if we're in treble clef. You can see that our B flat instruments are the clarinets, the bass clarinet, the tenor sax, the trumpets, and then we have our C instruments, which are the flutes and the piccolo, the oboe, and then the bass line, trombones, baritones, tubas, bass guitar, timpani and mallets. In our E flat section we have the alto sax, and then let's not forget the amazing French horns, which are in F. So all of these different groups have different key signatures, but when they play their notes it should all sound harmonic. So that is what we have with our key signatures at the beginning of the score. In bar 1 we also have some trills. These are the wriggly lines that you'll see going across the top. From the flutes and the oboes and the clarinets. Now a trill is an oscillation between 2 notes very quickly, and they have some side keys that help with doing that very quickly. On the piano we just go backwards and forwards. You go to the next note up in the scale, but it's just like an ornament. So the main note is still the one that's written. So they have a very long 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars of trill. And you don't want it to be overpowering though. It's just like if you imagine glitter in the background. The important part to start is the rhythm underneath, and then we have that nice phrase over the top done by the saxes. But don't forget the glitter. On the score in the beginning, you can see that some of the notes are on top of each other. 1, 2. Oh, well, that's not very clear. Anyway, the notes are written on top of each other, sharing a stem. And this is telling us that either the section is going to divide or that there's a part 1 and a part 2. Ralph also wanted to know how the flutes could play 3 notes on their line, and what they have is up the top is the piccolo, and then flute 1 and then flute 2. So that's often the way that it's written. If you don't have enough people to play all the parts, you take the bottom note usually. The conductor will listen and see if the other one is needed, but usually we have enough players. So that's the divided notes that you see written. So down to the bottom line, and we're looking at the percussion. Let's focus on the drums. Now, Rob especially said he was surprised by how much was going on in the percussion section. The 5 lines that we use to read our pitch in other notes, the percussion use for their different cymbals and drums. And so you'll see that down the bottom they have some with the stems going down. That's for the bass drum, and next to it is a BD, surprise, bass drum. Then we have some different cymbals. If it has a line going off, it says let it ring. So you hit it and it continues on. And you'll see the timpani have that as well down the bottom. They have a curved line, so they hit the timpani for 1 count and they just let it ring on. So the layering there is for the percussion. So you can see that he's starting with a crash cymbal, and then across to the hi-hat. And so that's fun. All right, so that's the beginning of the percussion area. And now bar 9, the drums have their stem, they have some lines going through it. And this one's a roll, just on that 8th note. All right, so the rhythm is do, da, da. Okay, so that's the percussion part in bar 9. Our next question comes from Ralph, and it's about bar 12. In bar 12, the alto saxes have a C sharp and an A natural written as accidentals, but there's a C sharp already in the key signature. Ralph was wondering why you would have that, and I pointed out that if he goes back to bar 11, that they've had an A sharp and a C natural, and so it's more of a courtesy that the publishers have put that in. In theory, you have to change, but they've just been nice and reminded us. Often you'll see it in brackets rather than just written out straight like that. Our next question comes from Rob on the bass guitar, and he said, at bar 18, why has everyone got these long lines over their music? Now, Rob plays bass guitar, and they don't really do legato. So that is what it is. It's a phrase line. It's telling us that that is the musical sentence that needs to be played, and those notes will be played smooth and connected without any breaths in the middle. Bass players, if they wanted to play legato, would probably be playing an upright bass with a bow, and that would give them the legato sound. Our next question is about bar 28, and it's percussion again. Sometimes you will see this in other parts in jazz settings. So we have a double line with some dots and a 2 on the top. And what they want you to do is repeat the last 2 bars. So it's a little set, and you'll just repeat it. And they will sometimes write it out many times and put small numbers over the top, so it might go 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't want you to play the first one once and then the next one twice and the next one 3. It's just helping you with the repetition, so you can just look at it and see how many times you need to do it. The next question is coming from Ralph again, and this is about bar 45, and Ralph was wondering why the trills are on a slope. So it's the flutes and the oboe, the bassoon, trumpets, trombones, baritones have what we call a fall or a glissando, and so we use these often in jazz pieces, or we might use it in a climax. Pianos use them all the time, all the way down, and so it's an accurate thing, and so we have it falling from a particular note down the octave, in this case, over 1 beat. So that doesn't go for the whole bar. It has to be precisely start and precisely finish and fall. And there's different techniques on how to do a fall, and they can also go up. All right, so a rise up, a glissando, fall down, a glissando, and you can see in that same bar that the trombones have some upside down slurs, boop, and so that's because they've gone beep, doop. Lots of fun, isn't it?
A glissando is when you slide seamlessly between different notes, as opposed to articulating each of them. So instead of something like this, if we were to glissando through those notes, it would sound like this. Now, the way I make the glissando on the clarinet, I can use 2 different methods. I can slowly slide my fingers off the keys, which sounds like this. And I can also change my embouchure and my throat position when I play to adjust the pitch. Just like that. Now, there's this one piece that's very famous for the glissando on the clarinet. Perhaps you might know it. It's the opening of Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin.